All right, everybody, we're going to get right into it. CodeStrap, big person in the Palantir community, just came out with a video, and it's a pretty amazing video. I'm sure some of you have seen it. For those that have not seen it, full link in the description. Definitely go check it out, but I'm going to be reacting to it as well, giving my thoughts on it. This is one of the best videos on Palantir I've ever seen. If you don't know who CodeStrap is yet by now, you should definitely subscribe to his channel. Check him out on Twitter. The most, I would argue, important Palantir mind in the community, primarily because he used the product, he has a technical domain expertise with the product, and he is able to understand the technical long-term vision for Palantir. I mean, he understands the business case, but he really gets where the tech is going, and he uses it on a daily basis. So he just has a lot of value to add. So when he talks about something like Palantir or AI, I take it seriously. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right into this. It's called Palantir's Edge AI is AI at the Edge.
Back to the channel, everyone. This is probably the most important video I've done in a long time, and it may be one of the last videos I ever do. So listen up. Software is changing. I made this prediction back in 2021 in the very first video I ever did about Palantir. And it's changing in this way in which humans today are traditionally have been at the center of software. Everything we do when we build an application is to design it for human use. But that is changing with AI. AI is pushing humans around the edges of software and pushing itself towards the center. And we don't have to imagine what those systems are going to look like anymore. We have innumerable examples from both Palantir and Palantir customers that use AI to surface signal data and have it acted upon by humans or automation that affect the real world. We've seen this across industry after industry, BP having one of the most advanced deployments of these types of systems that I've ever seen. But this AI can do things like affect plant production, and it can do things like affect windmill production at power, at wind farms. This is AI affecting the real world in a virtuous feedback loop with human beings. And that,
fun fact, the first interview I ever did with CodeStrap, you guys can check it out on the channel. I asked him, why are people excited about Palantir? And he said, there is a new world that is emerging, and that world will be dominated by AI. He said this back in February. So, I mean, he's been screaming about this for a while, and he believes Palantir is the winner when it comes to AI.
feedback loop with human beings, and that is the future of software. It's surfacing signal data to be acted upon by human beings to affect the real world. And a signal can be anything from the identification of a Russian asset in the war in Ukraine, like warships and tanks or personnel, or it can be predicting the failure of ball bearings in factory equipment, or fraudulent transactions. And these systems cannot and will not be contained on a laptop alone. AI must exist as close to the data generation as possible to reduce latency and cost.
Which is one of the core things about Edge AI. This is what we talked about a while ago, which is that when you need to have that much data to be able to make a real-time decision instantaneously, the data has to happen on the device. It has to happen immediately. It can't be in some cloud server millions of miles away, because you need the information ASAP, especially if you're in something like a mission critical moment when you're in war, or if you're in an electric car and you need to make a decision right here which way to turn. Like, you can't wait for a cloud to tell you what to do, which is where Edge AI becomes so special and so incredibly important to disrupting the new future that we are getting into with all the different technologies that are intersecting. So when he says it has to be available near the base, I mean, the use cases for that are exponential.
Requirement of the modern OS. And this is what I believe Palantir figured out a long time ago, that Edge AI requires fundamentally a different set of tools, and they realized it years before anyone understood they needed them. And this is evidenced by products like SkyKit that uses Edge AI to perform targeting and intelligence in the harshest conditions on Earth, or products like Meta Constellation that perform those same tasks in the harshest conditions in space, right? And further, Palantir was named the leader in AI ML platforms by Gartner in 2022. The evidence is undeniable. Palantir is the most important software company for a future that virtually none of us have grasped until now. Operationalizing.
That is a big deal, and I want to pause there and then we'll get back into the video. Look, when it comes to AI being operationalized, we've seen things with ChatGPT, which CodeStrap's going to talk about in a little bit, and it's produced like some fun little things that we can do with it. But I think the reason Alex Karp is so proud of Palantir is because you are helping people not die in a situation where your device is the only thing that determines if people are going to live or die because of the information that device creates, because of the data that that device produces, because of the way that software is utilized. And when you imagine that in the healthcare sector, where Palantir is reducing the backlog for cancer patients in the NHS, which doesn't have the best healthcare system, nationwide, like that's one version of that example that's a little bit disconnected from actually solving cancer, but it still has roots in like, well, if you solve backlog, people, it's more efficient, the hospital is not as bureaucratic, etc. And then you've got something where it's like it's life or death in a mission critical situation. Is the software working or not? And I think that's why Karp has always been so, for lack of a better word, cocky and arrogant speaking about Palantir, because he knows, as CodeStrap said, that they figured out years ago this is where the world was going, and they've started building upon that. So when everyone's like, Palantir hasn't been profitable for 20 years, it's like, you have zero idea what you're talking about. You are looking at an income statement. You are not looking at the technology. And there's a time and place for both. But in this time and in this place, when the macro sucks and the company's at a $14 billion valuation and has IL6 security clearance that only Amazon and Microsoft also have, maybe it's time to look a little bit at the tech before we start crying about the stock price because some of our gains are down.
Data is the backbone of the modern operating system. Proprietary sources of data combined with AI can give you precise answers to high-value questions. And these high-value questions can include whether or not to take a human life or how to save a human life. These are important questions that need to be answered. And operational data provides a mental map for human operators working together with AI to understand the predictions being made by AI. What people don't understand about advanced AI, even things like large language models like ChatGPT, is no one knows why the model gave the answer it did, unless you have a system that can let you audit and infer and understand why that AI made the decision it did. So operational data plays a key component in the modern OS, and it's manifest in Foundry and Gotham. And Foundry provides a complete, fully integrated solution for data versioning, transformation, and the ontological modeling to fuse disparate data silos into meaning. What people fail to realize is organizations are generally made up of hundreds of disparate data silos created by decades of IT, a lot of IT tech debt in a lot of cases. And all of that data is its semantics are different, and it's hard to interpret and hard to understand. What does it mean? Without the tools provided in Foundry and Gotham to bring that into an ontological system, to fuse the meaning to the data, your data is meaningless, it's worthless, and it can't be operational. Foundry also provides the application building tools that remove the engineering bottleneck to flow these data models into AI and ML creation tasks, and also human-centric operations tools that combine humans and machines in a symbiotic relationship that will define software for the next decade or more. The rise of large language models like ChatGPT will further accelerate this edge AI trend, and it will also further accelerate the death of human-centric software. Do you need endless software suites and applications when ChatGPT and technologies like ACT, which drive user interfaces and eventually, most likely, API calls? Do you need a human-centric software suite when those technologies can perform any task that a human otherwise would? Is the future of software just a prompt interface where a user can type a question and an AI can give a response, and you can see supporting data to understand the trustworthiness of the response and to have the AI take further action? You can do anything with that system. You could book flights, reservations to just about anything. You can search for homes. You can search the internet for any question you want answered. The future of software looks nothing like software today. And people are in love with ChatGPT because it's a symbiotic relationship between AI and humans that improve their lives.
So a couple things I want to talk about that before we move forward. This idea of software replacing the nature of humans needing to make that software is an incredibly profound idea. And again, that's not getting rid of human beings. I think there's a lot of obviously jobs that'll be created by the humans working with software, but do you need a software suite if you enter in a task that requires some coding, and this thing that's trained on billions and billions of models just produces the exact result you need? Do you need to pay someone $200,000 a year to be like? I mean, these questions are so, they're so profound, they're so existential, and the root of this is the symbiotic relationship, as CodeStrap is mentioning, that AI makes with a human. We love ChatGPT because we type something in and we get a response, and there's this relationship that's so cohesive. It's not this, you have to see 17 links and you click on the link and the blah blah blah. Like that seems like that could potentially be a way of the past, and that's not the future. And so if that is the future, and those learning models and those very complex structures of trying to come up with the right answer, whether it's in a ChatGPT format or whether it's BP trying to figure out how many, reserves they need to drill to make oil for the next 50 years, I mean, these things require incredibly complicated levels of AI, and the infrastructure supporting that is going to be the company that wins in the long term, if that's where the world is going. Just like the world was going towards e-commerce and Amazon won. It's this very simple business analogy to understand that if the world's going towards AI and Palantir has the best AI, they win. They're not going to be the only ones, but they're going to be one of the big ones. And so that symbiotic relationship is incredibly important to analyze when we're thinking about AI from a commercial perspective as well.
People, though, they're going to want more of that. They're not going to stop with ChatGPT. But in order to trust black box models like ChatGPT, we must first leverage Palantir's technology to provide the context and hints that ensure a high quality answer is given for every question asked or for every task performed, right? So, and a lot of people don't understand that these black box models like ChatGPT, they're complex. They're complex systems. No person can infer or understand exactly why the model gave the answer it did. The only way to try and get quality answers is through experimentation. And this is sort of now become known as prompt engineering. How do we create prompts, instructions basically, for the AI, the context around the question that ensures the AI gives you a high quality, accurate answer? And using Palantir Foundry, all black box model responses can be collected, rated, and understood. And this allows data scientists using Foundry to select golden prompts used to fine-tune models like ChatGPT that are highly specialized versions through a process called fine-tuning that will always produce quality answers to high-value questions. And further, these operational workflows and resulting models produced in Foundry can be shared with other Palantir customers using Foundry archetypes. This isn't theory either. This is an actual project I'm working on in Foundry right now that uses a machine learning technique called SHAP, and it produces a virtuous feedback cycle to understand and produce golden prompts and fine-tuned versions of ChatGPT, which can then answer really in a very, very, very accurate way, really hard questions. And that can include things like code generation and code authoring. So using models to generate code for a data pipeline that you want to produce in Foundry, or it can include instructions on how to learn Foundry. So I hope to have a demo of this for you soon, but understand that Palantir Foundry isn't just the operational, the OS that's going to power edge AI. It's the thing that's going to train AI. And that is a truly, truly powerful combination.
And that's a big deal. It's not just an operating system for you to use it. If it's the thing that's training it, then it's the thing that's providing the thing to be able to give the value to the end user that's getting a prompt from AI.
And it's why I believe in this company, and why I'm going to be announcing some very big things very soon, hopefully, that show just how committed and how excited I am about the future of software.
So this was a really important video by CodeStrap, and I think it highlighted a couple of important things. And the biggest thing that it highlighted to me was AI is the future. And if AI is the future, if you believe that's the case, and with things like ChatGPT, it's hard to believe that it's not the case, what companies do you want to bet on? Yes, you could bet on Microsoft, and like maybe that's a big winner if they figure out how to really commercialize ChatGPT, etc. But Palantir has been using AI to make business operationalize their data for the past 7 years. And they messed up a lot in the beginning, right? That's the trials and errors of trying to build a really innovative product, but they had the right idea. They got the right concept years ago. Now they fine-tuned it to the point where, in the reports that we've seen, and this was reported a couple months ago, Palantir was the leading software SaaS company in terms of AI revenue, ahead of Microsoft in 2022. Insane. Like absolutely insane. And so the fact that Palantir has been able to figure out on something that fails many times when it comes to AI and ML ops, to build a commercialized software product that not only can help something like Tyson Foods and BP, but can also go up to the UK Ministry of Defense and the DoD and the CDC and just be this behemoth of infrastructure that's training the AI, much less operationalizing the data within the AI. You've got something that could be a juggernaut and that theoretically should grow massively. Now, will that happen? There's a lot of other factors there in terms of sales, go-to-market strategy. Then you get into the business sense. But just from the pure tech perspective, if that's the thesis for investing, or at least that's one of the theses that I think every investor should care about when they're investing in a tech product, it's hard to deny that Palantir doesn't have it, and it's even harder to deny that something like a Snowflake is going to be doing that, right? Especially given their rich valuation right now. So I think this is one of the best videos CodeStrap's ever done, and I hope he continues to make more Palantir content. But I think the relationship he defined between the human and the AI, and particularly at an abstract level, why we like AI, and then at a technical level, why Palantir is the winner, or at least one of the potential winners when it comes to making that AI accessible for the masses in the future, leads me to think that Palantir can be a very special company. So thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Please subscribe to dailypalantir.com, our email newsletter. It comes out one email a day, every day for free. Check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and definitely check out CodeStrap's channel. See you guys in the next one.